Hello students, this is Palla Darbari. I welcome you all in my YouTube channel Darbari Classes. In this video I will discuss the first chapter of the microeconomics, that is introduction. Let us see the topic that we will discuss today. We will discuss the meaning of economics, meaning of economy, classification of economics, branches of economics, and types of economy. Let us discuss all these points one by one. The first is the meaning of economics. See, economics is a science that deals with the production, distribution, the consumption of goods and services for the attainment of maximum welfare. The economics can also be defined as the science which teaches us how to use the scarce resources so that the maximum welfare can be attained. Now let us see the definition of the economy. Whenever we are talking about the economy, for example, American economy, Indian economy, we means the system by which goods and services are produced, sold and brought in a country or region. In a very simple word, we can say it is the system which controls the production, distribution and the consumption of goods and services. Let us see the type of the economic system. We are having three types of economic system. First one is centrally planned economy, second is free market economy, and the third is mixed economy. Centrally planned economy means the economy where the production, consumption and the distribution is controlled by the government with the motive of attaining maximum welfare. Here the involvement of the private sector is zero. Every decision is being taken by the government, keeping the welfare in the mind. The free market economy is also called the laissez-faire economy. It is that type of the economic system in which production, distribution and the consumption of goods and services is controlled by the market forces. Market forces means demand and supply. Now let us see the mixed economy. It is that type of the system in which private sector and the government sector, private sector or the government collectively control the production, distribution and the consumption of goods and services. The motive here is welfare also and the profit maximization is also. Now let us see the classification of economics. We already know, just to avoid the confusion and the chaos, the definition of the economic is being categorized into four categories so that the confusion and the chaos should be minimized. The very first definition is being given by Adam Smith, and he has defined economics as a science of wealth. The second definition is being given by Alfred Marshall and the A.C. Pigou. He sees economy as a science of material welfare. Third definition is being given by Robbins. He says that economics is a science of making choice. And the fourth definition is being given by Professor Paul A. Samuelson. He sees that economics is a science of dynamic growth and development. So we have categorized the definition of economics into four categories on the basis of the perception, on the basis of the nature. Let us discuss all these definitions one by one. First is science of wealth. This definition is being propounded by Alfred Marshall. He says that economics is a science of money and money values. This definition is being criticized by Alfred Marshall. He says that the definition given by Adam Smith is incomplete. It is nothing but a gospel of mammon. He rather called this definition as a dismal science, and he says that the definition given by Adam Smith is making the person money oriented. We are not supposed to make the person money oriented, and he emphasized that economics is a science in which we use the scarce resources so that the humans can attain the welfare, human can attain the maximum satisfaction. Here he emphasized on the satisfaction. The second definition is being given by Robbins. He criticized the definition given by Alfred Marshall. He says that the definition given by Alfred Marshall is incomplete. Why? Because he was emphasizing on happiness. Rather, we are supposed to use the resources in such a way so that the maximum welfare can be attained instead of happiness. Suppose if a person is having a habit of drink, you really feel that the drinking habit will be beneficial to him? Definitely it will not be beneficial to him. No doubt, he feel very happy when he booze. So this definition is being criticized and the definition given by the Robin is being accepted. Then Paulus Samuelson came. He says that the definition given by Marshall is incomplete and the Robin is also incomplete. And he says that we should have the broader outlook. We should not have the petty outlook. And he says that economics is a science which teaches us how to use the scarce resources so that the country will grow and prosperous. He has removed the word welfare and he had added the word growth and welfare of the country. Now we will see the different branches of the economics. Economics has two branches, microeconomics and the macroeconomics. Let us see the meaning of the microeconomics. Microeconomics is being derived from the Greek word micros, which means small. Thus, microeconomics is the study of individual unit, such as individual consumers, firm, and a small group of individuals. Thus, microeconomics is the study of economic behavior or the activities of individual unit. It is a microscopic study of an economic. So let us see the scope of economics. Scope of economics means where we are using the concept of microeconomics. We are using the concept of the microeconomics at the time of determining the prices of the commodity. If the person want to fix the price of the commodity, he sees the paying capacity of the consumer. There he used the concept of the microeconomics. The second scope is at the time of determining the price of the factors of production. You know that in the production we are having four factors of the production: land, labor, capital and entrepreneur. In consideration of the land, the person get rent. In consideration of the labor, the person will get wages. In consideration of the capital, the person will get interest. In consideration of the entrepreneurship, the person will get profit. So microeconomics helps us in determining the wage rate, rent, interest rate and the profit. The next scope is principle of welfare economics. To frame the welfare economics, the government should know the problems with which the person is having a problem. So their government uses the microeconomics concept so that they should know the problems which are affecting the individuals, and the government should come out with a programs so that the problems should be reduced, diminished. Now let us see the characteristics of the microeconomics. Microeconomics is the study of individual units. As I told you, microeconomics is the study of particular consumers, particular household, particular producers, etc. The second characteristics is study of small variables. In the microeconomics, the small variable is being considered. We are not considering the economy as a whole, only taking the economy at a very small level, that is at the individual level. The next characteristic is determination of individuals. The microeconomics is being used to determine the prices of an individual's commodity and so on. Let us see the importance of microeconomics. Microeconomics helps us in understanding the whole economy. We know that if we are having the information about individual problems, with all the individual problems, we will sense out what the problems a country is facing. Microeconomics also helps in understanding how the private sector is working. What we do is we study one private sectors, and by knowing the working process in the selected private sector, we presumed that the working in private sector will be going on in such a way. The next one is helpful in price determination. In order to determine the price of the commodity, we should know the paying capacity of the consumers. So there we are using the concept of the microeconomics. Next is government uses the concept of the microeconomics so that they should know the problem with which country is suffering. Microeconomics. The first is microeconomics mostly based on impractical assumptions. Second is it does not provide the real picture of the whole economy. Rather, it tells the problems of an individual level. And the individual problems will never ever be considered as the problem of the nation. It does not help in solving the problem of national importance because it emphasizes on the individual problems. So the problems of national importance is totally ignored. Fourth is the result of microeconomic analysis do not apply on the whole economy. Let us see the next topic, that is macroeconomics. See, the term macroeconomic is being derived from the Greek word macros, which means large. Thus, macroeconomic is the study and the analysis of economy as a whole. Macroeconomic is the study of behavior of large aggregates such as total employment, national product, national income, per capita income, etc. Let us see the scope of macroeconomics. It means where we are using the concept of macroeconomics. Macroeconomic concept is used mostly at the time of determination of theory. For example, employment theory, income theory, theory of price level, theory of growth, distribution of theory. In all the theory, we use the concept of the macroeconomics because the motive behind every theory is maximum welfare. Now let us see the characteristics of macroeconomics. It is the study of aggregates. In macroeconomics, the problems of all the individuals is taken together. Second is it ignored the individual differences. In macroeconomics, general problem is being considered. Since we are considering the general problem, so the individual differences cannot be considered. So we ignore the individual differences. We only consider the points which are common in all. Next, theory of growth oriented. It studies the problems of economic growth and accordingly theory of growth is framed. Now let us see the importance of macroeconomics. It helps in understanding the whole economy. With the use of the macroeconomics, we come to know whether the economy is developed or developing. It helps in formulation of the economic policies. We know that in macroeconomics, all the policies being framed. So macroeconomics is always beneficial in framing economic policies. The next is it helps in study of growth and development through the macroeconomic policies. The person will come to know whether the country is growing or the country is developing or not. The next is it helps in the development of microeconomics because whatever the principles the nation has made, that principle is also being followed by the individuals. So macroeconomics support the microeconomics. Now let us see the limitations of macroeconomics. In the macroeconomics, excessive generalization of economic principles is going on, which is bad. The next is it ignored the differences. We know that every individuals are having the different problems, but in the macroeconomics we only consider common problems. So we ignore total the differences. We only consider those problems which are of similar nature. We know that individuals are having the different problems, but in the macroeconomics only the similar problem is considered. That's all we have in this video. Meet you soon with a new video. Till then, stay home, stay safe. God bless you.